Hello, it's Philip Carr-Gomm here. Tea with the Druid 107. So, how are you on this special day? I can wish you a happy new year because we've been transitioning into this new year really since the time of Samhain. Samhain is a time when we start to experience this shift and this transition. And then, of course, there's the winter solstice, which is the astrological real shift into the new year, but we don't recognize that. And then we have Christmas, and then we have the secular new year, and then we have the 1st of January and all the fireworks all over the world. And so we feel we've entered the new year. And, everybody's piling in. Everybody's piling in. Hello there. Noon here in Canada. That's great, Anne. And Marie-Anne in Orléans, and Sigrid in Austria, and Terry in California, and Linda in Cairns, Australia. Gosh, our heart goes out to everyone in Australia, what's happening at the moment. So it's great to see you all here. And I suppose, what happens, I think, for all of us, perhaps, certainly for me, is the new year arrives, and you have the best hopes for it. And of course, this new year is special because it's the beginning of a decade as well. And it's 2020, this strangely futuristic date. Somebody posted something on Facebook saying, scary thought, 2050 is as far away as 1990, which does really strike you, because 1990, certainly for those of us who are a bit older, doesn't seem like long ago at all. It feels like yesterday. And so the suggestion is that 2050 is really near too. So, but 2020, we associate 2020 vision. It has a sense of balance about it. So especially those of us who are optimistic like to feel that it's good. And then, of course, what happens is the year begin, and we have, things getting bad, the terrible fires in Australia, these almost apocalyptic sort of scenes that we're seeing. And we're going to be having a Druid from Australia in tea, hosting Tea with the Druid next Monday, which is lovely. And then we see what's happening between the USA and Iran. So more than ever, we need, I think, to draw on our spiritual reserves and resources. And one of the things that spiritual teachings do is one of the main ideas. Somebody's saying hello from the impermeable woods of the Netherlands. I like the idea of them being impermeable. One of the things that spirituality offers is a belief, an understanding, an idea that there are other levels of reality, that there's this level of reality where events play out in the world of space-time, but the nature of time and the nature of space has other qualities to it that are different and that we can access through altered states of consciousness. And of course, the supreme mystical experience, or one of the supreme mystical experiences, is the experience of eternity in the moment. And if you've ever had this, it's extraordinary that you enter into a moment of time which expands into eternity. And conventional ideas about space and time no longer seem to hold sway. And it's out of this other world that comes inspiration and hope and ideas. And that's why we do this. If I ask myself, why am I so interested in spiritual teachings, even after reading about them for so many years and studying them and following a spiritual way and so on, is because it plugs me into, it gives me access. And this is why I'm sure we're all together now at this time, all over the world. Why we're doing this is because we know that there's a source of inspiration, there's a source of nourishment that we need. Those old sort of Victorian pictures of divers with the tube that goes up, and I think they had a pump on the boat, and they used to literally pumped the air down before they bottled air, I suppose. And they would pump it down to the diver, and that's the kind of image that I have of us being given the sort of oxygen from the other level. And I asked, so before this broadcast, I asked of the tarot, and of course we have tools in spiritual work in the esoteric tradition. There are tools that help us to access these other levels. And one of those is the tarot. And so I asked the tarot for a card for this evening. And it gave me the Princess of Wands. This is from wonderful artwork of Will Worthington in the Druidcraft Tarot. It's a French version. You might know the word baguette from meaning a loaf of bread, but it also means a wand. So you have the Princesse de Baguette. And I think what she's epitomizing in this card is very much what we need. We need the youthful energy of the princess. We need the feminine energy of the princess, not this battering ram kind of male energy that's being expressed at the moment. And we need the firmness of that wands bring, the direction, the sense of direction and firmness. And here's an interesting point. With the tarot, you can ask for further clarification, or further deepening. So I asked for another card for us to go deeper in this. And this is what I got. I got the Eight of Pentacles, which you see the figure, he's making these beautiful gold pentacles. He's pouring molten gold onto a block where he's creating this jewelry, if you like, and the furnace behind. And that illustrates a really interesting point, which is that when we have 2020 vision, when we have wide vision and we can see a lot of what's going on, of course that's good, and of course that's important. That's what our global culture does, that's what the internet does, that's what the media helps with sometimes and hinders often. And that's what all the work we do on setting goals and intentions for ourselves and having visions of the future and what we'd like to do and all the rest of it. But what we need to balance that with, and this is what it seems to me that this card is showing, the Eight of Pentacles, is that we also need to know when to move our focus to what's directly in front of us and to work on the small thing, the next step, the particular step we've identified. We may have a grand vision or a particular goal we want to reach in the future, a hope for humanity and the world. And yet, to avoid being overwhelmed by it, I believe we need to work like the guy with making the jewelry there, step by step. It's very true. I mean, you know, for me, when when you get a book contract and suddenly you have to write 100,000 words, if you think about the end point, you obviously have to think about it at the beginning to get the vision, to get the goal. But then you have to sort of let go of that and to pull right back and to focus on step one, which might be writing chapter one, step two, write chapter two, and so on. And it reminds me of that lovely story of the girl who the old man saw throwing starfish into the sea. And he said, they were washed up on the shore. And he said, you know, why are you doing this? And she said, because they can't live if they're out of the water, so I'm throwing them back in. And he said, well, there are thousands and thousands on the shore. What difference can you make? And she said, well, I don't know about that, but I know it's making a difference to this one. And she throws the starfish out. Same idea, focusing on one thing at a time. So let's with that in mind, let's do something in a time-honored way in spiritual tradition, which is trying to access a deeper level of awareness for inspiration and for refreshment. And there's another example of how your goal might be to get inspiration. Your goal might be to feel calmer. But if you hold the goal in mind, sometimes it's too big a step. So what you need to do is you just need to take the steps to the oasis, to the chalice, to the sacred grove. Just take the steps and then just wait, but just focusing on those steps, which is why in meditation, if you're striving to succeed in meditation, that just gets in the way. So you have to perform this kind of art of sort of knowing where you're going, but then not looking too far ahead. So let's do that now if you're willing to do that. So let's just close our eyes to better concentrate on ourselves. I'll open them now and again to make sure we're still connected on the internet. And being aware of being seated in front of our screens. At the same time, we can just allow that sense to gently dissolve as we become aware of walking through the trees and coming to a clearing in the forest, clearing in the woods, a sacred grove as it's known in the Druid tradition. And this is a place of peace and calm, and a place where we can just sit on the ground and just become aware of the stability of the earth beneath us. And there's such life and richness in this ground. The rocks and the minerals, all the creatures in the soil, the smell of the earth. And we allow ourselves to feel grounded and stable by the earth. And we sense the roots of the trees in the earth. And these roots go deep into the earth and then rise up as trunks. We feel the trunks of the trees around us. We sense the trees around us, their presence and their power. We look up and we see the branches and the leaves. And we feel the blessing of the trees. And we breathe in the perfume of the trees, their essential oils that get mixed with the air and which we breathe into us. And we become aware of the sky above us. And we sense the vitality in the sky, and we breathe in this energy. So we feel the vitality of the sky flowing into us. And its energy meets the energy of the earth within the center of our beings. And we sense now that in the center of our circle is a beautiful pool of water. And you might feel moved just to move a little closer to this pool. Just so you're by the edge of the pool. And you just allow your imagination and your eyes to linger at the edges of this pool. And you see how much life is there. The insects crawling on the blades of grass, the reeds in the water. You catch the sight of a frog just jumping into the water and disappearing. The ripples on the surface of the pool. And you ask for the refreshment of the pool. And perhaps just reach your hands out and just take a few drops of water from the pool and touch your brow gently, feeling the cool water bringing you energy. And then you put your hand in the water and you just take a little bit of water in your hand and you carry it, just move it to the land and then just gently pour it on the grass. Just asking that the water may flow in the land, that the rain may go where it needs to go. That it might rain and bring blessings and bring life to the earth. And you move your hand down to the earth and you feel that lovely moist grass and soil, the feeling of moist grass and soil. And then you lift your hand up and just place your hand on your heart. May the waters of life flow through our hearts, refreshing us and bringing us healing. May our lives be blessed. May the land be blessed. And then, thanking the pool and the spirits of the pool, you just step back. And as you step back, you sense yourself just stepping back through the trees. The scene starts to fade. And you find yourself seated here in front of your screen, fully present here and now. And when you feel ready, you open your eyes. So I hope you enjoyed that. And I know it's very short, these meditations. But it's good, I think, to learn how to go to these places in our consciousness quickly, just for a few moments. And the more we do it, the more practiced we can become. So at any moment we can close our eyes and drop into meditation. I came across on the BBC website a little film it said, "This man meditates 50 times a day." And it was a guy in Thailand who, and he was just talking about how at any time you can just close your eyes and drop into that state of feeling love and connection with all beings and refreshed and vitalized. And we know now from neuroscience that even these few moments, it just changes what's happening in the chemistry in our brains. So it's good for us. It refreshes us. If you want longer meditations, I'm going to share with you something now that has been going on for about a year, but I haven't really talked about it in Tea with a Druid. But now that it's established, I'd like to share it with you, which is that I started to feel that it's good to have longer meditations as well as these short ones. And so I started a private Facebook group called the Private Magicians Club. And those people who were taking the Lessons in Magic online course got access to the Private Magicians Club. And in that club, we started having open-ended live Facebook discussions. So we would come online and I would talk and we'd have a discussion and then go into a much longer meditation. And we do some journey, some magical journeys. And we've created a clubhouse in the other world, in the world of the imagination, or in the astral, however, in the inner world. And there we meet and we go on long meditations together. And so in a minute, I'm going to go switch channels, as it were, and I'm going to go into the Private Magicians Club. And if this interests you, if you like these short ones, but you find yourself yearning for more, then you're very welcome to join us. But there are 2 ways into the club, 2 ways in. You can either join the Lessons in Magic course, which gives you access, or you can join the Transformation Through Tarot course. You can find both of them by going onto my website, Philip Carr-Gomm, Carr with it, and then the dash, GOMM.com. Look under courses, and you'll see the courses described. And then you enroll on the course, and then that gives you access to the Private Magicians Club. So if you've ever wondered whether it's possible, we have guests, Penny Billington and Steve Handsome, and so there are at least once a month these long meditations, but sometimes more. Sometimes if circumstances permit or it feels right, we'll do more than that. But starting from in 2020, we're going to be having one of these a month. So you'd be very welcome there. But in the meanwhile, have a wonderful week. Next Monday, we have a member from Australia who will be with us taking the tea session. And in the meantime, of course, I'm sure all of us are feeling the same way, that we just send all our thoughts of healing and wishes for the rains to come in Australia and for these fires to die down and to die out. So many, many blessings, lots of love, and see you very soon. Okay, bye. And I look forward to reading your comments. I will read them. Okay, bye.